a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Ricky Gervais. Ricky Dean Gervais is an English stand-up comedian, actor, writer, producer, director, and singer. Gervais worked initially in the music industry, attempting a career as a pop star in the 1980s as the singer of the new wave act Shona Dancing, and working as the manager of the then unknown band Suede before turning to comedy. Gervais appeared on the 11 o'clock show on Channel 4 between 1998 and 2000. In 2000, he was given a Channel 4 talk show, Meet Ricky Gervais, and then achieved greater mainstream fame a year later with his BBC television series The Office. It was followed by Extras in 2005. He co-wrote and co-directed both series with Stephen Merchant. In addition to writing and directing the shows, he played the lead roles of David Brent in The Office and Andy Millman in Extras. He reprised his role as Brent in the comedy film Life on the Road. Gervais began his stand-up career in the late 1990s. He has performed 5 multinational stand-up comedy tours, and wrote the Flanimals book series. Gervais, Merchant and Carl Pilkington created the podcast, The Ricky Gervais Show, which has spawned various spin-offs starring Pilkington and produced by Gervais and Merchant. He has also starred in the Hollywood films Ghost Town and Muppets Most Wanted, and wrote, directed and starred in The Invention of Lying and the Netflix-released Special Correspondence. He hosted the Golden Globe Awards in 2010, 2011, 2012 and 2016, and appears on the game show Child Support. Gervais has won 7 BAFTA Awards, 5 British Comedy Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards and the 2006 Rose d'Or, as well as a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination. In a 2004 poll for the BBC, he was named the 3rd most influential person in British culture. In 2007, he was voted the 11th greatest stand-up comic on Channel 4's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups, and again in the updated 2010 list as the 3rd greatest stand-up comic. In 2010, he was named on the Time 100 list of the world's most influential people. Early life. Gervais was born at Battle Hospital in Reading. He was raised in Whitley, along with brother Larry, sister Marcia, and brother Robert. His father, Lawrence Raymond Jerry Gervais, a Franco-Ontarian from Payne Court, Ontario, emigrated while on foreign duty during the Second World War and worked as a labourer and hod carrier. He met Gervais' mother, Eva Sophia, who was English, during a blackout. They settled in Whitley. She died, aged 74, of lung cancer. He attended Whitley Park Infants and Junior Schools, and received his secondary education at Ashmead Comprehensive School. After a spell as a gardener at the University of Reading, he moved on to University College London in 1980. He intended to study biology, but changed to philosophy after 2 weeks, and earned an upper second-class honours degree in the subject. During his time at UCL, he met Jane Fallon, with whom he has been in a relationship since 1982. He is the former boss of Coldplay drummer Will Champion. Music. In 1983, during his final year as a student at UCL, Gervais and college friend Bill McRae formed the new wave pop duo, Shona Dancing. They were signed by London Records, which released 2 of their singles, More to Lose and Bitter Heart. The songs failed to chart inside the UK Top 75. Despite not being successful in the UK, Shona Dancing did manage to score a hit in the Philippines with More to Lose. He also worked as the manager for Suede before they became successful in the 1990s. In 2013, Gervais performed a live tour as David Brent along with a band under the name Foregone Conclusion. Gervais and the band performed songs written under the Brent character, including songs such as Equality Street and Free Love Freeway. Gervais also produced a series of YouTube videos under the title Learn Guitar with David Brent, featuring acoustic guitar versions of 9 songs. In 2016, as part of the Life on Road film promotion, Gervais published the David Brent songbook containing 15 songs. These were also recorded for the album Life on the Road, under the name of David Brent and Foregone Conclusion. Radio. Gervais worked as an assistant events manager for the University of London Union, They moved from Hulu to a job as head of speech at the alternative radio station XFM. Needing an assistant, Gervais interviewed the first person whose curriculum vitae he saw. It belonged to Stephen Merchant. In 1998, Gervais was made redundant when the station was taken over by the Capital Radio Group. Around this time he was also a regular contributor to Mary Ann Hobbs' Radio 1 show, performing vox pop interviews in unlikely locations. After the first series of The Office, Gervais and Merchant returned to XFM in November 2001 for a Saturday radio show. This was when the pair first worked with Carl Pilkington, who produced the shows and later collaborated with them on their series of podcasts. In October 2017, Gervais began hosting the weekly radio show Ricky Gervais's Deadly Serious on SiriusXM podcast. On the 5th of December 2005, Guardian Unlimited began offering free weekly podcasts, including The Ricky Gervais Show featuring Gervais, Merchant, and Carl Pilkington. Throughout January and February 2006, the podcast was consistently ranked the #1 podcast in the world. It appeared in the 2007 Guinness World Record for the world's most downloaded podcast, having gained an average of 261,670 downloads per episode. During its first month, 2 more series, each with 6 podcasts, were released between February and September 2006. In late 2006, 3 more free podcasts were released. Together called The Podfather Trilogy, they debuted individually at Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. These 3 were known by Ricky and Steve as The Fourth Season. In October 2007, another free full-length podcast was released through iTunes. This podcast was originally given out for free during a performance of Gervais' famed tour in London. On the 25th of November 2007, Gervais, Merchant, and Pilkington released another free full-length podcast, which lasted just over an hour. In August 2008, Gervais, Merchant, and Pilkington recorded their 5th season of audiobooks, totaling 4 chapters, which were released on the 16th of September 2008. These audiobooks were described as the Guide to series, covering several topics. As of May 2011, there are 12 guides in total: medicine, natural history, arts, philosophy, the English, society, law and order, the future, the human body, the earth, the World Cup 2010, and comic relief. The conversations typically begin on topic, but constantly stray away from the topic at hand. Early television appearances. Gervais has contributed to the BAFTA-winning The Sketch Show, penning several sketches. His mainstream TV debut came in September 1998 as part of Channel 4's Comedy Lab series of pilots. His one-off show Golden Years focused on a David Bowie-obsessed character called Clive Meadows. Gervais then came to much wider national attention, with an obnoxious, cutting persona featured in a topical slot that replaced Ali G's segments on the satirical Channel 4 comedy program The 11 O'Clock Show in early 1999. In which his character used as many expletives as was possible and produced an inordinate amount of politically incorrect statements. Among the other regular featured comedians on the show was Mackenzie Crook, later a co-star of The Office. 2 years later, Gervais went on to present his own comedy chat show for Channel 4 called Meet Ricky Gervais. It was poorly received and has since been mocked by Gervais himself. Throughout this time, Gervais also wrote for the BBC sketch show Bruiser and the Jim Tavare Show. The Office. The Office started when Stephen Merchant, while on a BBC production course, had to make his own short film. In August 1999 he made a docu-soap parody, set in an office, with help from Asha Teller, who was shown a 7-minute video called The CD Boss. Thus David Brent was created. Merchant passed this tape on to the BBC's head of entertainment Paul Jackson at the Edinburgh Fringe, who then passed it on to head of comedy John Plowman, who eventually commissioned a full pilot script from Merchant and Gervais. The first 6-episode series of The Office aired in the UK in July and August 2001 to little fanfare or attention. Word of mouth, repeats, and DVDs helped spread the word, building up momentum and anticipation for the second series, also comprising 6 episodes. Following the success of The Office second series, Gervais was named the most powerful person in TV comedy by Radio Times. In 2004, The Office won the Golden Globes for Best Television Series Musical or Comedy and Best Performance by an Actor in a Television Series Musical or Comedy for Gervais, who said in a 2015 BBC interview that the award was the gateway to America for him. The Office brand has since been remade for audiences in Sweden, France, Germany, Quebec, Brazil and the United States. Gervais and Merchant are producers of the American version, and they also co-wrote the episode, The Convict, for the show's third season. Gervais has said that the episode, Training, is his favorite, where Brent plays his guitar and sings. Extras. Extras had its debut on the BBC on the 21st of July 2005. Directed by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, the sitcom ran for 12 episodes, and starred Gervais as Andy Millman, a background artist. Millman is more self-aware and intentionally humorous than Gervais' The Office character David Brent. Guest stars on the first series of Extras include Ross Kemp, Leigh Dennez, Patrick Stewart, Vinnie Jones, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Stiller, Kate Winslet, and Francesca Martinez. A second series began on the 14th of September 2006 in the UK, and featured appearances by Daniel Radcliffe, Dame Diana Rigg, Orlando Bloom, Sir Ian McKellen, Chris Martin, Keith Chegwin, Robert Lindsay, Warwick Davis, Ronnie Corbett, Stephen Fry, Richard Bryars, Patricia Potter, Sophia Miles, Moira Stewart, David Bowie, Kate Winslet, Robert De Niro, and Jonathan Ross. A Christmas special of Extras aired on the 27th of December 2007 in the UK and on the 16th of December 2007 in the US, featuring guest appearances by George Michael, Clive Owen, Gordon Ramsay, Jonathan Ross, and David Tennant. Gervais was influenced by Curb Your Enthusiasm in making Extras, particularly in the format of celebrities making fools of themselves or subverting their public personas. In 2007, Gervais won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series for his portrayal of Andy Millman in the second series of Extras. As Gervais was not present at the awards ceremony, the trophy was accepted on his behalf by Steve Carell, the actor who starred as regional manager Michael Scott, the counterpart to Gervais' David Brent on the American adaptation of The Office. The Guardian's Chris Trehorn explained the few gripes he had with Extras, particularly in the second series. You can forgive Gervais a certain arrogance after the success of The Office, but he remarks on the confused tone of the series, taking in the clash between the broad comedy of characters Barry and Darren, and the apparent parody of this style with When the Whistle Blows, and, given their total indulgence of Gervais, the BBC is portrayed as interfering, its comedy department run by a rather crudely stereotyped gay couple. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?